Welcome back to the Punters Guide. A busy weekend. I think we've maybe discredited the racing action on the run up to Cheltenham because although eyes do tend to shift towards Cheltenham, the racing has been good. It is competitive this weekend. We got 9 races to cover, Joel, a lot to get through, but it is just me and you. Matt's not joining us once again, so we should get through it a bit quicker. We don't have to listen to him waffle on. We can just crack on.
Oh, yeah, hang on. Oh, the greatest show on turf. It's just 2 weeks away. Oh, hello, greatest show on turf. Oh. Yeah, he's not here. And thanks for watching last week. Record figures when Matt wasn't here. It's nothing to do with that whatsoever. There's 9 races. Smash through them. Get some winners. And I will give it to you. You had a cracking week last week.
I did, yeah. I'm happy that we've come into a bit of form. If we can combine the two now, because you had a cracking one the week before. I did well last week. We got 2 of these shows before Cheltenham. We can put a few chips in pockets ready for Cheltenham. Then we're on to a good one. It is competitive this weekend, but there are a few in here I like.
Yeah, there are a few. And this weekend, anything we win is going to Frankie's Furniture Fund. So where are we starting? Kelso.
I'm going to save that until after Cheltenham, actually. Yeah. Anyway, we better get stuck in. We've got Kelso to get through. We've got 2 at Newbury and 2 at Doncaster. We'll go through the 4 at Kelso first. Starting with the 115. Shaloko Jack tops the market for the Skeltons. You've got Bill Baxter in there, Castle Russian. Who do you like, John?
This weekend, just due to the poor form of Skeltons, I'm not touching a Skelton horse this weekend. They've not had a winner for over a week, and they've not just been running badly. They've been really shocking. One I backed yesterday was a favourite. A couple of ones next to its name and just emptied, and they're all doing this. Now, I don't know if he's just getting the Cheltenham horses ready or there's something wrong with the stable, but I'm a big believer. When Nichols having that poor run, was it last season, and same as Venetia, I just don't go near them. You know, they could all hack up this weekend. And also Emmett Mullins could hack up everything this weekend as well. I'm sure we'll get onto him. So I'd go against the favourite here. I really do actually like Bill Baxter, and we're getting a price for Warren Greatrix. One at Lingfield in November, a couple of lengths. Kelso back in December. It fell at Hereford in January. It was a small mistake, and it was challenging 4 out. So we don't know what have happened there. However, Super 6 was in that race. I think it had the beating of that for Nigel and Sam Twiston-Davis, and that was a horse we gave up a couple of weeks ago. And I think everything looks solid here for Bill Baxter. Skelton's got to turn the corner at some point before Cheltenham, but I think it's 7-2, 4-1. I think we're on to a nice start.
Interesting. I'm going to stick with the Skelton horse. I went round in circles. It was one of those races where I don't really fancy a whole lot, and I just came back to the favourite. He looks the classiest horse in it. He looks the most talented in it. His win last time out was pretty impressive. He's been absolutely hyped to be in the weights for it, but probably rightly so. And I was trying to be clever and find an angle, and I didn't really find what to do to him, if I'm honest.
Well,
it sounds obvious, Joel, but I think he's the best horse in the race. Yes, the Skeltons haven't performed, and yes, he is top weight, but I just think he's the best horse in it.
Thing is, I mean, I could never get these handicappers right. So on Chase debut, he fell at the second and was dropped £4.
Yeah,
he hosed up at Lingfield, easy to like by 12 lengths last time, and then the handicapper's putting up £11. Explain that one to me. Is that just the handicapper got it wrong and then went, whoa, here we go? But I couldn't touch Skeltons this weekend, and good luck to you, but Bill Baxter for me.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. And he was well beaten at Kelso on this card last year, albeit over hurdles. So he's definitely not a strong selection for me in the first. So I won't put people off trying to take him on. The next, the more butter hurdle. This is an interesting one. You mentioned Emmett Mullins, 150 at Kelso, over 2 miles. You get that bonus as well if you win this and then go towards Cheltenham and win a race there, which some of these would be targeting. We spoke about Filey Bay, and you probably wouldn't have been wrong to back him for the Betfred hurdle, isn't it? He's got McTeague in here, Emmett Mullins. There's Colonel Mustard, was 3rd in the county last year. There's Lo de Sud for the Skeltons. You're probably staying away from that. Sam Thomas has got one in it. I'm sure we'll talk about that. Is this a case of just believe the Emmett Mullins hype?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to put them all in little small doubles and trebles this weekend just because it might happen. Was it 2-3 years ago when they were in these colours, these original shunter colours? And they picked up that bonus, £100 bonus if you win this and then go on to Cheltenham, isn't it? I think the form horse, though, in this one will be Colonel Mustard for Lorna Fowler. 3rd in the county hurdle, behind State Man, not a bad third there and first street. He's not a chaser. He's back over hurdles. And because of the Emmett Mullins money, which no doubt will come for it, or it'll drift out to 200 to 1 and the rest, I think if you can get 6 to 1 on Colonel Mustard, and if you just want to go each way, have a little bit on each way. I can't see it being out of the frame. But anything could happen with Emmett Mullins' horse. He knows the time of day, is the polite way of saying he knows the time of day.
I couldn't agree more in
Woo!
everything you said. The thing that makes McTighe, or McTighe, whatever you call him, most interesting is a 4-year-old. Like, as Emmett Mullins got a really, really good horse here, and he's like, we can get this one into a good handicap early before he's found out, and then go to Cheltenham, which could well be the case. I'd probably play them both each way. You know, we saw what happened with Filey Bay. We all said that was the right bet, and although it didn't win, it kind of was, but it was about 7 to 2, so it was hard to back. If you can get an each way price on McTeague and play another form horse, like you said, in Colonel Mustard, and play them both each way, then I think that's what I'll do here. Because, like you said, Colonel Mustard was third in the county off for 140, goes off 143, but Kieran Buckley takes 3 off. He's essentially running off the same mark, and they will go and have a crack at the county again. So you couldn't really look past a county hurdle third in a race like this.
And you get the £10, aren't you, for the 4-year-old allowance as well? Because 4-year-olds don't win this race. So you're getting that as well. So let's just see. I think you'll know your fate 5 minutes before the race, depending on the price. If this is smashed, I think it hoses up. If it's 20 to 1 and drifting, I think you're all in on Colonel Mustard. Yeah,
well, there we go. McTeague each way wouldn't be the worst shout. Colonel Mustard is the form horse, and then Sam Thomas does have one that could be quite well handicapped off 125 in Deer Mark. The 225, 2 miles and 2 novice hurdle. Emmett Mullins has got another hard one to judge in here. His hurdle debut in a grade 2 at Kelso. Then we've got 2 that ran well in the Tolworth, Newbury and Lion and Colonel Harry, and then a couple of others in here. Accidental Rebels probably want to flag up as well. Joel, who do we like? Are we looking towards Emmett Mullins?
Again, I'm putting them in doubles and trebles this weekend. Just very small stakes, get a few quid for Cheltenham if it happens, because I don't want to go. It was so obvious. But I looked at last night that he point to point, won it by 10, second in bumper at Leopardstown, and third in the grade 2 bumper at Leopardstown again. But he knows what he's doing. It has drifted a little bit. So I don't know if the cash is coming late. Newbury and Lion, who we put up, what was it, 4 or 5 weeks ago, for Kerry Lee and Arpats. That came third at 18 to 1 the Toward hurdle. We put it up that day, 3 lengths behind Tamorus. He's got the beating of Colonel Harry in this race. Tom Lee has said, Kerry Lee's brother, that you might as well just have a go. I think he said it last time. Don't think he'll be good enough, but you know, if he's fit, he's fresh, he's up for it. Chuck him in there. We're not getting the big, huge prices. We're getting probably 4 to 1, 9 to 2, or something like that. But if you take the Emmett Mullins horse out of the race, I think I'd be very, very happy with Newbury and Lion.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's fairly boring, but there's clues, isn't there, in that Tolworth? Both Newbury and Lion and Colonel Harry deserve their shot in this, I think. Colonel Harry went well for a long way and then just got found out a little bit late on, but it was really testing conditions that day. I wonder if he might have a chance at reversing the form, so he's potentially slightly more attractive for me at the price. But that one of Emmett Mullins, I think you're having a bet if it could jump a hurdle or not. Because if it can, if it can, it should win this. Like, you know, how brave are you? It's never jumped a hurdle. But if you watch that bumper back, A Dream to Share and Fact to File, either of them could win the champion bumper. And he went well for a long way with them. And when Derek O'Connor realised that he wasn't going to win, he completely stopped riding the horse and nothing went past it. Like, it's got to have some serious talent.
I watched that back last night, and he looked quite happy with himself. Like, oh, just hang on, I'll just stay back a little bit. It was bizarre. Stick 8 flights of hurdles in front of him might cheer up a little bit, but you never know with a stable. You know, I love it.
There's one in here this weekend. Like, you've got Farinelli, you've got the Shunter, and you've got they're obviously going for the more battle. One of the other two, I think, have they just thought, oh, we'll just bring them over? Is this horse trying to get some experience over hurdles, or is it trying to win the race? That's what we don't really know. But off of raw ability, it's come behind 2 horses that could go and win a champion bumper in 2 weeks. So It deserves its shot. The 3 o'clock, we've got a handicap hurdle, quite a tricky one, really. Is there any value to be found here, Joel? 2 mile
Uh,
5.
13 to 2, 13 to 2. And Nelson, first run after a wind up. Now, I do have conversation with friends all the time. I should really get a new bunch of friends. But we always say it's the second run after wind up is the one. But I'm adamant it's the first run after wind up for Nelson, Nicky Richards, Danny McMenamin. At this meeting last year, he won the Premier Novice Hurdle by a short head. He beat North Lodge, who was in second, and Bold Endeavour was 8 lengths back in third. Ran okay in January, and a really good handicap at Cheltenham behind Hacker de Play and My Ties. Down £2 from that, £4 lower from his best mark. He should appreciate these conditions. Cheap pieces stay on, and it has drifted this week. I think it was around 5 to 1. It's now 13 to 2. Nelson, first run after wind up is the big tick for me. Cheap pieces still on, and Danny gets the job done this weekend. So I was quite confident, to be fair.
We are. We might be joining forces. You had the week before, I had the last week. I fancy the same for the same reasons as well. I just think class will prevail. Like you said, he won that. I think it was a Grade 2 novice here last year. Was 4th at Aintree in another hot race that 3 Stripe Life won, and then hasn't necessarily performed as you think he might in a few handicaps, but they've probably been slightly more competitive. His mark has come down a bit. He's had the wind up, like you said. This doesn't look as competitive. He's not top weight. He's one off top weight. But I think he, again, is the best horse in the field. And provided 11-12 doesn't find him out, I think he could be winning this. So Nelson for the both of us. The last one we'll look at Kelso, the 3:35, 2 miles 7. Listed chase. Lemilos tops the market, won the Hennessy, the Shunter. This is another Emmett Mullins. What the hell has he been doing? He's been running on like 1 mile flat races, a couple of short hurdle races. He hasn't been chasing in a while. Zanza also has an entry at Newbury, and we know he's a Newbury specialist, so you'd probably expect him to go there. And then Wishing and Hoping and Empire Steel. Small field.
Yes, let's start with Wishing and Hoping. Now, I've never backed this horse less than 50 to 1, and we put that up in January. I was at the Sea Life Centre in Blackpool trying to get some 4G watching it, and we put it up on the Punters Guide, and it won by 3 lengths or something like that, 50 to 1 in January. And I was so happy. I was so happy for the jockey and the trainer. You know what this horse is going to do? It's going to try and make all. That's what happens to this horse. But I'm sorry, you don't take anything less than 50 to 1, even though it's going to be a small field. I think Shunter is probably nap material of the weekend because they're playing around with it. It got the £1 million bonus, didn't it? Then it was flogged to JP, and I thought that was the worst bit of business of all time. I think some of that money is coming back this weekend. It's ran 9 times this time of year, won twice, placed twice. I wouldn't say they're messing around with it. I just don't know what they've got and what it does with itself. But get some of that stupid money they spent on it back. The Shunter, I think it's up there with strong next best nap material this weekend.
So bizarre, isn't it? Ran a 2 mile hurdle race. He ran over 1 mile on the flat, 2.5 hurdle race. 2 mile 6 chase in the Galway Plate was the last time he was over fences in July. He's had a strange old campaign, the Shunter, but he was the horse that Emmett Mullins did the bonus with 2 years ago. So is this where I don't agree? You say that's nap material. I'm quite strong on Lemilos. You go back to that Hennessy and you just read the horses in behind. Remastered in second. Was carrying less weight than Lemilos. Jericho Rock was carrying less weight than Lemilos. Corrick Rambler was only carrying £1 more. Bustleton was only carrying £3 more. And Sam, who just won really well the last day, was carrying a little bit less weight that day. So Lemilos wasn't chucked in, didn't have a really good mark, was running off a really light weight. He was carrying 11 stone. He was in the mix with all these top handicappers, and he proved himself as a very good horse. But again, we know he's trained by Jolt, so maybe that's way too with the Shunter. The Scouters do have to find some form. to be honest, this one's at the end of the card. We mentioned the favourite in the first race, and he's got a couple in the handicaps. If they do run poor, then I would happily change and go with the shunter. So let's say for me, I will watch a few races at Kelso and elsewhere, see how the Scouters are running. If the fancied horses run well, for me, Lemilos has the form here. But we'll wait and see come Saturday. Right, let's move across. We'll go to Newbury next. We mentioned Zanza. The first race, though, we'll look at Newbury will be the 210, another handicap hurdle. Lots of handicaps, but to be honest, the market seems to go off a lot of these right. We'll see if we agree again. This I found quite tricky to be too strong on anything. 2.5 miles, class 3. Where are we looking?
Well, first of all, we need to give Pylon a mention, don't we? For Christian Williams and Jack Tudor. The magic carrots. Now, I'll just say that I haven't got any carrots in the fridge today.
A magic cucumber.
I'm playing with magic cucumber.
I'm not sure that's as PG as the magic carrot.
Now, the thing is, the missus keeps saying, what do you do on a Friday? You go into your office, you get on Zoom, you close the blinds, and you go in there with fruit. I said, I'm just getting a few quid for OnlyFans for Cheltenham. You know what it is. And look, I thought I'd just give it a mention for that gag. I've got no interest in the horse. I think that's got other days in it. I really like Champagne City in here for Ben Brookhouse, who's starting his career really, really well. Ex-assistant to Ian Williams. He spent time with Jim Bolger, with Henry de Bromhead, Ferdy Murphy. So he knows the time of day. Also spent some time at Hugo Palmer's for some reason. But this horse has been running well on the flat. It shows that he retains a little bit of ability. I like Eddie Edge. He's a bit nuts. He claims a 7. But I really like him. The last winning mark of 124. Is that right? Are we off 124 here? Let's have a look. Where are we? Champagne City. Champagne City.
124, yeah.
Yeah, 124. That's what I put here. So that's the last winning mark. He's off that. And I think in a wide open handicap with a couple of them really don't fancy. Champagne City for me to because again it's a Saturday, so people are looking down, looking for the trainers, and they're going Ben Brookhouse. Who are you? But yeah.
I'll be pleased with that.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. People were saying that about Skelton. Yeah, Skelton years ago, or George Bowie, or any of these people. But no, Champagne City each way. Ran 12-1 is strong, and no magic carrots this weekend for Christian Williams.
There we go. Yeah, it is trying to rise the value in here. There's probably 2 I'd be interested in. JBY has run in some decent races. 3rd in the Betfair Hurdle. That's good form. Was 4th in a race at Kempton behind Call Me Lord, Captain Morgs, and Fiddler on the Roof. So all of that form kind of definitely gives him his shot. The other I'd like, but it's on the drift a little bit, which you never want to see with JP Colours and John Joe Train. But Locks Corner was beaten, I think, last time out. Yeah, but over 3 miles. If you look at his 2.5 mile form, has won twice and was second to Bleckensop, which was a really progressive horse this year. So I do think that's good form, but the drift doesn't really entice me too much. The other at Newbury, we're going to look at, if I can shift across and get there, the Greatwood. Probably not the most competitive or exciting. We've got 6 in here, and Zanza's double entered over the weekend, but probably will run here. It looks, what you tell me, is it a bit of a match bet between the top 2, Paint the Dream and Zanza?
Yeah, 100%. I'm looking down, and this is a poor race. It's a poor race, isn't it? It's not full of quality. But Zanza's made me look an absolute, so many times. 5 from 6 at Newbury. What was it, 14-1 last time? And everybody afterwards was going. Well, it's obvious. It was Newbury. Did you back it? No. Message out to Tom O'Brien, who's on sideline. So Maheen Lolan takes over. It's just Michael spelt wrong. So he's on board. And I think the Zanza at Newbury, I think you get him in the horse box. He looks around and goes, Cheltenham, Ascot, Weatherby, don't fancy that. Oh, Newbury, get him out for lads. So it's a race that I normally wouldn't play in. We're playing the ITV races for a bit of fun. So Zanza as a little interest at the weekend. 5 from 6. Let's make it 6 from 7.
It's a tricky one, this. They're both good at Newbury. That's what's got me now. Paint the Dream is also very, very good at Newbury. I wouldn't say he's quite as a Newbury specialist as Zanza, but performing poor elsewhere doesn't just mean you automatically are better at Newbury. It just means you're better at Newbury than other courses. Paint the Dream's putting some very good performances around here, and what probably has swayed me has done it carrying 12 stone, whereas Zanza maybe hasn't, and I think this is bread and butter for Paint the Dream. I remember speaking to Conor Brace when he won last time in Newbury, and he was like, look, he's not a grade one horse. He's not going to go and win those grade one events. But these sorts of contests, even if he carries top weight, these he can win. But it is competitive. And look, they're both, whatever, you were getting around 3-1 for the pair of them. It's hard to split. They're both good around here. They've both won similar races to this. But I'm going to go with Paint the Dream. But I do think it'll be the top two. Maybe a reverse forecast wouldn't be the worst idea, eh? Depends how
Well, yeah. Why not get a few quid back for Sheldon? That's all it's all about this weekend.
Give yourself a double chance. Right, the last two we'll look at. Doncaster, where we're going to the 130. Calico will be the talking horse in here. Have I got that right? Yeah, I have. 2 mile, another handicap chase, class 2. Calico was the horse that supposedly gave John Bon a scare. We're both in agreement that John Bon was never in the slightest worried. So maybe it's been flattered by that. And then you got Pay the Piper, Excitations, Mackenberg, Brian Hughes and Don McCain. Are we going with the Fav? He's scout and trained. We didn't think he actually scared John Bon. I guess not.
No, Mackenberg, I think, is massively overpriced here. It was 9-1 early this morning for McCaney Hughes. Ran a shocker last time. But it was 2 weeks after a race at Doncaster, which was a hard race. I think he's £11 higher than when he last won. He's got the beating of Exaltations. Calico, I couldn't. I don't know how to look at that horse. People say he gave John Bon a scare. I don't know if he did. Saying he didn't. And the Skeltons, I wouldn't have that for a minute. I don't like Pay the Piper, so I fall, and I literally fall into a hole here on Mackenberg, and I think we're getting a really good price. And bearing in mind, he has got the champion jockey on board for whatever that means. He's just rode the most winners at Sedgefield and Newcastle. Goes straight through.
Not a bad round Doncaster either. I agree. I'm willing to take the Fav on as well. I don't think that I think he's flattered in the market because of what happened racing against John Bon, and everyone's going, oh, he could be really good. He should get him in the Arkle. I don't think that's the right price. So Excitations is the one I'm looking at here. It's won twice round here before. Their last time beating Elixir de Nuts, which is a decent horse. Followed that up with a win at Sandown, quite impressive that day. And then was beaten last time out, but by one of John Joe's that I think was probably quite well handicapped that day. I can't remember what it's called, Prince Ascalius, and was giving a bit away as well. So yeah, I'm in agreement. There's a small field, but probably won't be having the Fab. So Mackenberg for Joel, Excitations for me. And the last race to finish us off, the Grimthorpe, 3 miles to the 3:15 at Doncaster. Cooper's Cross heads the market. Does he know? We spoke about before on the Punters guide. We all agree he's got a bit of talent, but how do you get him to win a race, or where does he go to win a race? And then, a couple of others. Castle Robin, who I put up, who won the other week, and then under supervision for the Twisters. They're the top 4. Where are we looking, John?
I've got forecast nap this weekend on this. The other way around.
Give us the soundbite. Tell us how the race pans out.
Okay, this is the one for Twitter, then, isn't it? In 3, 2, 1. Idea. I would go forecast here. Does he know to beat Cross? These two are the best horses in the race. Cooper's Cross, form horse. Does he know, carrying a ridiculous amount of weight, 12 stone, but it's quality. The horse is very, very small. If you've ever seen the horse in real life, you go, hell, he's absolutely tiny. But has done this. Yeah. Have a little look. You can't see from your armchair with your arm around somebody on a Saturday afternoon. Get yourself racing, Frankie. Have a look. It's a quality animal, and has done the weight carrying performance before. He's rated over 20 pounds higher than Cooper's Cross. At this stage, I think the bookies have got it the wrong way around. I think Does He Know will go off favourite. But does he know to beat Cooper's Cross? And I think there will be a gap to the rest of them who'll be sitting out in the back, reading smash hits.
I have to agree. Oh, I mean, we're not saying anything groundbreaking when he's carrying 12 stone and is rated about 15 pounds better than the rest of the field. But yes, he is the best horse in the race. And the point that you made, which I think, gives him a good shot here, is he's done it before. He's won a race quite nicely carrying 12 stone, and they're obviously not afraid to come and do that again. And I do like to see that in a horse. If some horses seem to deal with it better than others, but if you have gone to a handicap below your level, carry top weight, look like the class out, and done it before, I think he can do it again. So yeah, does he know? If I had to find one that I think might be well handicapped under supervision, maybe was third in a Premier Handicap at Cheltenham. That's not bad form. Pulled up next time out, and then they went for that big pot at Donny, 57k race and unseated. The race that Cooper's Cross won, actually. So we'll see how that pans out for a second time. That'll be the kind of fancy at a lighter weight, only carries 10.3. But does he know? He's done it before. Let's hope we know, hey? 12 stone, best horse in the race, should go and win. Before we sign off, Joel, what's the best bet?
Bill Baxter, 400 Great Tricks and the 115 at Kelso to turn over Sholo Jack for the Skeltons. Really, really confident this weekend because the Skeltons are out of form, as I've said. If they clean up this weekend, then brilliant. It's going to be a nice Cheltenham for them, but I wouldn't touch them while they're not in form. That's my opinion. Bill Baxter, 100 Great Tricks, 115 Kelso. Come on the Bill.
Come on the Bill. I'm going to be brave. Farinelli, the bumper horse for Emmett Mullins. As I said, you're betting.
Hang on. I'm going to be brave. It's the favourite. it could be. It could be anything. And it's owned by, it's trained by Emmett Mullins. Wow.
Well, it's never jumped a hurdle. So as I said, you're betting against can it jump and is it here to win? I think, well, like I said, the form of those two in front that could go and win a champion run. But this horse on raw talent should beat all of these. And if it starts jumping them, then happy days. And the reason being, the reason it's going to stay in up, I know it's the favourite, but around whatever you're getting, 3 or 4 to 1, if it does jump them after the race, you're going to go, Jesus Christ, that was a good price. So I'll take my chances on Farinelli for Emmett Mullins. That's all from the Punters Guide this weekend. Don't forget to join us. We've got our final Road to Cheltenham, I think, on Monday, where there's all sorts to talk about. Handicap weights are now out. We'll talk about best bets for the week. We've got an exciting game we're going to talk about where prizes are to be won, where Joel will be putting up a ridiculous acca, no doubt, from horses from all day at the festival. That'll be Monday. But for this week's selections, hopefully we found some winners. Best of luck if you're having a bet. And as always, please do gamble responsibly.